What's up, everybody? I've now officially clicked the record button. Hello, welcome to the EU stream redo. Redo. This is not the official broadcast. This is going to be streamed and recorded live over on twitch.tv/TamCardwell and youtube.com/TamCardwell with me, TamCardwell, and my good buddy, Barrett Bryant. Thank you for being here, man. Very, very fun. The goal...
I couldn't let you do it alone.
...is I want to... the EU Spain... regional has happened. It's already done, at least for the Swiss rounds today. They started at 3 a.m. my time, and it's currently almost 1 o'clock p.m. And so what we're doing is me and Bear are just going to, having not watched any of the broadcast, we're just gonna cast for you. We're gonna talk about it, just like normally we're on production. This time we're not, and so I wanted to just do it myself. And so, Bear, can you still see my main screen?
No, it says stream paused.
It says stream paused. Okay.
Do you have it minimized?
I don't think I do, at least. Let me change this entire screen. How's that looking?
Great. We're great.
Incredible. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and pop in and talk about the deck list. So we've got two people playing today. We've got my music has stopped. We've got excuse me, I believe it's Annabelle and Bruce?
Bryce? Braze? Who knows?
Unsure, but it is.
I already know we're gonna struggle with names this regional, and that is nothing wrong. I think their names are so cool. I just don't speak the language.
We are gonna mess it up for sure. But it is April O'Neil on the Void symbol versus Byakko on the Earth symbol. Let's talk a little bit about this April list. We got like a minute to talk through. This list looks really, really mean. April, one of the characters that I am a big fan of. But it does not look like this is necessarily like a mill strategy list, but maybe it is. If it is, it's like not very polite, or it's being very polite about it.
Yeah, right. Like not 4 copies of Sweeping Daggers, which you think most people would go towards like in a mill strategy. There's that 3 difficulty Void Attune attack from Critical Role that a lot of people like think is an inclusion in Void decks. But April just says as long as we get to the enhanced step, I do mill my opponent 1 card, which is why I see the Rising Uppercuts here, right? You know, we can play a Rising Uppercut, great block trick, and then if you play it on your opponent's turn, it is another instance of April Enhance, and you get a cookie depending on what happens, without you getting attacked. So like I definitely see the strategy here. This is a 73 card list, 22 attacks, which isn't on the higher end, at least like total attack count wise, of what we think of when we think of mill decks, just like you said. So I'm not sure how this is going to play out. But typically mill decks include more things that remove your opponent's cards, and we just don't see a lot of that here, like you're saying.
Yeah, I will say if there was a matchup to have Annabelle find, it is Breas playing Byakko, the character who is actively trying to mill themselves over and over and over again. If you look at a ton of 4-ofs, trying to be this lean, efficient machine, my cards are good. I want to see them. But turning on things like Beast Summoning maybe a turn or two earlier than what we would normally see, just because of how April is going to be playing into what Byakko's got going on.
Yeah, ensnaring Roots here. I think a lot of people were on this card right when Critical Role first came out, and then I think a lot of people took it out of their decks. It's extra draw power, it's extra flip potential. You can definitely tell that Breas here wants to flip his opponent's stage while still just having a lot of 4X copies of the attacks that they want to see, because like you said, they're good ones. Lots of 4Xs across the entire board. This is a 68 card deck. So it'll be very interesting. I think the biggest dynamic here, Tam, that I'm excited to see is you have April, the mill deck or mill character, I guess, maybe, and a character that wants to hit 30 cards in the discard pile. But when you do hit that 30 cards, April is going to get you even closer to cycling and turning off that ability that Byakko has.
Yeah. So we're going to take 2 seconds and get the match all set up and ready to go. And then we're going to rock it. So give me just 1 second. Live stream. I have to put it back to where I had it.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
We gotta find it. And the good news about today is, since the tournament's done, there will be no Be Right Back screens on the broadcast.
That's true. We're just full send it. 6 rounds, I believe, is what we got to cover. Again, I hope that I'll be here for all of it or most of it. But yeah, I don't know the result of this match. I just have seen some Discord chats that were happening while this was live at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. or whatever. But yeah, here we go. So on the play, it looks like we've got April O'Neil, and wow, double incubating start is really great. And it was interesting too when we were looking at the deck list, Tam, that like the deck is playing cards like Supersonic Flight, but it's only like 2 copies, and it's literally, in my opinion, just so you have some extra draw power from removing cards in your discard pile from incubatings to play defense. So like it'll be very interesting to see what we get in our discard pile fast enough for those to matter, or if again we're just using them to draw extra cards on defense.
But with that said, Byakko is a massive fan of slinging damage, and the first form that we have of the game is just massive size. It's +5 damage to literally any move that Byakko is going to be playing. If April messes with her food and does not like actually try and win the game effectively, we could just see like a pretty easy sweep here of just like big damage moves going through, especially with April turning on Byakko's game plan so efficiently.
Yeah, and you got to think, even on top of that, that's this mill game plan. I mean, we've seen now double Father's Sin here getting played for milling 4 more cards. We did draw 1 card, at least 1 card on the second one, but we are turbo loading and trying to get these things in our discard pile as quick as possible. So a solid build 5 here, and being able to hold even more cards defensively because of that Father's Sin proc. And like you said, the massive size on the board isn't just +5 damage, right? Because we're Byakko, it's +5 damage to all of our moves.
Yeah.
And then +10 to the one that we really want to.
Right. Because of what Byakko says, right? Of plus damage equal to the stats on top of for the highest difficulty in either player stage. I don't think April's going to have much more than a 5. But talk to me a little bit about Scumbug.
Yeah, is that what that top card is?
I think that is the first card that we played on this turn. We'll go and find it. Scumbug. Inscrutable Insect.
Yeah, absolutely. This is one of the new secret rare cycle of elusive backups that have come out of TMNT. And this one, if you have the all symbol, you're allowed to play this one. And of course, it is very much, hey, on every single attack, either mine or yours, you get to look at the top card of a player's deck, and you may have that player mill 1. So now we might actually really see this mill strategy. But of course, I know you have a thank you that you got to do.
Schwa, thank you. Thanks for the gifted, man. I have a new scene, and I forgot to put this on, so I appreciate it. Let me get the alert box. Is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, thank you, because I ended up getting one. But yeah, now that Scumbug is at the board, it is not just necessarily looking at the top of you, April O'Neil's top card of your deck, but we can look at the top card of Byakko's deck and choose to mill it, which is also, Tam, a direct counter to the if I have 30 cards in my discard pile Byakko ability once per turn, put something on top of the deck. Scumbug says you will never have that card on top of your deck as long as I hold my enhance.
Yeah, man, kind of like the perfect counter to the cat, you know? But it looks like 2 attacks into an electric moth, checking the 6 on it? On a 4/5/6, checks the 6? What is happening?
Wow. Yeah, I definitely, I think we were either looking for more cards in our discard pile, so we had to play 2 forms beforehand, or I genuinely don't know. But yeah, we decided to slam the electric moth on a 6. Is important to note that, like, Tam, what do we do against the Scumbug? Well, I think the easy answer is it's a backup. You're allowed to attack it, but of course that really, annoying, elusive trait that it has says you can't attack it if it's your first attack. So even if you've played 2 foundations before you play an attack, you still are not allowed to swing at the Scumbug first.
It's so funny to, like, reach across and, like, pick their card up and be like, is this one good? I get rid of it.
That is a little funny. I know most people don't like that. You got to think of like the Giro days, right? Where I think a lot of people would just do. I have a good example, I guess, where they would hold their deck up and they would just be like, "Hey Tam, do you like that one or no?"
That's a cool looking fish fillet. That's pretty good.
But yeah, absolutely. So gonna get some easy hand advantage here, and one of the perks of playing cards like Electric Moth and Byakko, of course, is that the biggest weakness of this card is that its stats are kind of wimpy, right? 3 high for 4, but you discard a card, you draw 2, maybe you draw 3, depending on your opponent's stage. But Byakko says, no, because I have this 5 difficulty in my stage, or 5 difficulty foundation in my stage, it's actually for 9.
Yeah. Yeah, huge. Definitely something you got to respect. But primo target, we talked about it before the match started. Primo target for Rising Uppercut, right? Like Rising Uppercut, slamming the reversal. Byakko already has 3 cards in the card pool. This 4 high for 4 is probably going to be that much more. But looks like massive size coming in to make this not 9, but 14 damage. And here it is. Looks like the uppercut
There it is
coming through.
Alternate art, Rising Uppercut. Of course, the block is going to, set its speed to make it easier to block this move. And then if we would like to pay the drive cost after that attack resolves, drive 1, so spend 1 momentum, or commit 1 foundation. After the completely block attack resolves, you're allowed to play this as an attack. Again, not super scary stats, 4 high for 4, but again, that's not the point. The point is that it is another enhanced step where you're not the one on playing defense, where April's allowed to press all of her buttons and take advantage of her opponent's deck.
Yeah, so far, there's a lot of game actions happening, like two attacks and I hit the chain.
Yeah.
I think that Annabelle's winning.
I think tempo-wise, game state-wise,
Yeah.
but part of me, and I wanted to kind of maybe talking about it during the deck list, but now that we're in the gameplay. So the thing is that we are obviously using Scumbug first. Scumbug says I get to look, and I can either keep it there or get rid of it, because we want to see what the card is going to be for our April O'Neil enhance. April O'Neil, of course, we hadn't really covered it, but there's only one enhance on this character, aside from the static for allies. Your opponent mills the top card of their deck, and depending on the check value of that card, we get a different cookie. On average, you're going to hit the 4 or 5 range, which is you're allowed to review a card and then draw a card. And then the big ones, of course, are the 6 check and the 3 check scenario. For every 3 check you mill off of your opponent's deck for April, you draw a card. And if you hit a 6 check, which we know Byakko's playing because we
100%.
literally checked one on that Electric Moth, you make Byakko discard a card. So looking and finding those better hits than just the 4 or 5 control checks is obviously what we're trying to do with Scumbug before we press the April O'Neil enhance. So it is kind of random. But Tam, I would see a lot more of this mill strategy being a lot more, I don't know, advantageous if you waited until Byakko got to 30 cards in the discard pile. Right now, unless we start presenting lethal, which a Rising Uppercut for 4 damage is definitely not that.
No way.
We're just speeding up the benefit for Breas.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly a rock and a hard place of like, my deck is designed to do the thing. I want to draw the extra cards and keep us in the enhanced step. But at the same time, it's putting more of probably the best attack in Byakko's deck, Beast Summon, in the discard pile to recur later, right? As we saw just now, we saw a Beast Summon hit the, I believe, even stacked on top of the deck to be drawn in just a second. Unless
we didn't play any more forms after the Electric
we didn't
Moth.
play any more. If April enters the enhanced step, it's just gonna leave,
Gone.
right? So like,
It's not just leave, it's mill off the top and then discard a card while I'm attacking you.
it's draw a card.
Or
for the
sorry,
free.
sorry,
It's draw
draw
a
a
card.
card. You're right.
But like,
I flipped it.
6-hander versus 5-hander is already like an uphill battle, right? Because of what April says. The fact that April sometimes becomes a 7 and then an 8 and then like a 9-hander, depending on like how our luck goes, feels really impactful. And then we didn't talk about it in the thing. Mutant mashup. 6/3 5-mid for 5 ally, so it get +1 to your check. We check the 6 easy. Blitz mill 2, add an ally attack with pretty difficulty 4 or less from a discard pile to your hand. The only ally I believe that we can go and grab is the Lurker Strike, which is crazy. Tell me about that one, man.
Yeah, Lurker Strike is an attack from the Lurker's kit that is revolved around review synergies, and of course we get a bunch of different effects when you press the enhance on Lurker Strike based off of the card types that have been reviewed this turn, which, you had the review at the beginning of the turn, and April, who says every time you mill a 4 or 5 off of your opponent during the enhance thing, you get an extra review, and you review one and then you draw a new card. So you can stack up the different effects very easily to then lead into a very high impact multi-enhance ability lurker strike. Basically, they all happen at once, of course, but it could include being able to build down a foundation, which is a pretty easy one to hit, you making your rival actually discard a card instead of having to hit that 6 check off of your opponent's top of the deck, and then of course playing a couple action cards, you can draw more cards, and then assets allow you to remove 2 cards from your rival's discard pile, which would help our mill game plan for sure. But of course, I don't actually think we're playing any characters, and backups don't count for this. So it is a win more the more you've triggered April's review ability type of ability or card. And like you said, we got to pick it up for free because this mutant mashup got to grab it for us.
And even like you said a ton of words there. This is +1
Yeah.
hand size against the deck that's just trying to absolutely throw 9 damage bombs at me over and over and over again. So even just like play mutant mashup, in the hand step, do the thing I want to do, add a 2 high block to my hand, and be fine with it is probably good enough for for just a turn cycle, especially if we get extra draw off of April.
And the thing about mutant mashup, as you pull it up here again, is like it even. You would think that you're like, wow, but I had to play a 6 diff for that. But remember, April has a static on her that says your checks to play allies get +1. So it's not even a 6 diff, it's a 5 diff. And you picked up a 4 diff, which is actually a 3 diff, right? So like it's this immense value of what you just talked about, which is 6 hand size character versus 5 hand size character. It's already an uphill battle for the 5 hand size character. And Annabelle here on the April deck is saying, I'm definitely never just a 6-hander.
Yeah. But from here, also affecting his hand size, we've got Breas coming down, second Moth of the game, I believe. This one going to be just as big as before, but Annabelle's stage is way, way stronger this time.
Yeah, looks like we're at 9, so we're not going to get the 10 or more draw 3 ability, but of course, like you said, this is a perfect attack where if you wanted to, you're allowed to use the once per turn on Byakko, stack anything you want on top of your deck, and then press the Electric Moth Enhance, discard a card, draw 2 cards, one of which being that thing you stacked. But as we know, as you're staring across a Scumbug and an April O'Neil, that is probably never going to give you the card that you actually want to get from your once per turn. As we start seeing more things happening, I know we're kind of glossing over the like, well, what did we hit off of April's Enhance? Hey, what is Scumbug looking at? These players are kind of actually zooming through those game actions, so it's impossible necessarily to find out every single thing side by side of like, hey man, discard a card now, or hey, I'm gonna draw one more here, or yada yada yada, right? So
yeah.
But counting the stage here for 9, meaning we're gonna draw 2 off of this. Seeing another, like you said, the beast summoning hit the discard pile. But as we look at Breas' stage, like a lot of these are kind of blank, right? So, Fearsome Transformation does say draw 1, but we don't have any momentum because Annabelle's playing great defense. It actually says draw 1, ditch 1. We have a Father's Sin. That only does something on play that we've already seen happen. Doesn't do anything in your stage. Face Down Foundation doesn't do anything in our stage. So we're looking at a lot of like blank text here, aside from the massive size, which is important for our character, and of course the split body control, which says that if you do end up blocking my moves, I can remove or flip a important piece over on April's board.
Let's talk about it. I think the play of the game might have just happened. Breas might have gotten his lucky break.
Yes.
We decided to press every single copy of Mill 1 over on April's side, which is going to let us stack and then attempt to draw. What is this card that we're flipping? Are we canceling?
I just missed it. It might be the keeping alert. No.
Oh,
it was
if
not.
you draw,
it says
it was totally not jealous. Yes.
Totally not jealous. When your opponent draws, I get to also draw a card. But you're right. This was exactly what I talked about earlier, which is if you press all your buttons, if you don't hold either Scumbug or April, Breas is going to take advantage of that scenario. We have hit 30 cards in our discard pile a while ago.
Yeah.
If you press all your buttons because you're so focused on this mill game plan, I'm going to get at least one that I want from my once per turn. And that's exactly what happened, Tam. We were so busy about, well, we don't want our opponent to, they're going to press their draw buttons. Of course they are. You're going to press the Electric Moth button. But we stared across one extra draw ability on our stage. We pressed our buttons too fast instead of holding on to one. And now we got punished for it. Now there's a beast summoning in Breas' hand, which does not say it's just one attack. it's potentially actually 4.
Yeah, I mean this is just the break that Breas needs here, and we need to play out this turn really well and check even better, because if we look, our deck is tiny. We've got less than 10 cards
Very
in that
tiny.
deck, and if we want to be giving extra stats to these, that is less beast summonings that are be coming out of the discard pile. It's possible that Annabelle knew this and decided to just go full force and say, hey, do my job for me. You pay your 4 health to go pick up a fleeting offense of, I know I can deal with these beast summons. You're going to run out of your deck, and that is halfway through my game plan working.
Yeah, and of course, not only is the deck tiny, but of course we have to mill cards every single time we want to use one of these powerful enhances off of Byakko, right? So we have to mill 3 if we want to either make our opponent flip a foundation in their stage, or if you actually want to give this +5 damage, because that's the perk of playing your character. But you're right, that means we're going to get even closer to less cards in our deck. And now that the once per turn has been used, congratulations, you don't have to hold your enhances anymore.
Yeah.
You know, we already didn't, of course, but now you don't have to hold back. You're allowed to continuously press the April button and press the Scumbug button to get those cards off of your deck, because if you don't make Brea's cycle here soon, you will actually see 4 beast summonings like the one we just picked up by paying 4 life.
And even that, like, the idea of the fact that Scumbug gets to choose whether it mills or not, if we see something with a really poor, why did we re-ready that card?
Which one? I don't know.
I thought we just re-readied a Father's Sin.
No, that one's tapped. That's the one we tapped for the check.
I thought we tapped 2 of them for the check. Unless we tapped
Breas
face
thought
downs?
the breaker was live on Lurker's Strike, but we are not a Lurker's.
Love it. That is
So-
what I missed. Okay, perfect.
Yes, thought the breaker was live, but it is a Lurker's breaker one, and
Okay.
April O'Neil, as much as she wishes she was,
Yeah.
she's not a Lurker.
Not part of the team, not part of the squad.
Not part of the team.
I think,
So yeah, it was just tap 2 because we checked a 3 on this beast summoning.
I think if we see like a really a 3 check on top with Scumbug, I'm not positive that I would press the button to mill it and just leave it on top and let you check.
Make our opponent check.
Yeah,
I
man,
think that
what
is
a powerful backup.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the point, right? These are the secret rare level backups. You can't. Your one move to kill it isn't enough. You have to play at least 2 to attempt to attack it. And I actually wonder if there was a point in this entire game that if we ever had 2 attacks in our hand, if Breas should have got rid of that Scumbug a long time ago. Again, granted, I think we got pretty lucky this turn. I think, you know, Annabelle allowing Breas to use that once per turn and get that draw off of that Fearsome in our stage is something that could have never happened if especially the Scumbug was never on the board. Because the fact is that it's an extra use of making your opponent mill the top card of their deck, and it could just not be there. But of course, that elusive trait makes it a little bit harder if you're a 5-hander like Byakko and you only draw 1 attack for turn.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in. It looks like, again, another perfect block here with Ares Smile coming in, blocking out this beast summon. Still an incredibly healthy stage over on April's side. We've already used the re-ready from beast summon. Any bad check here, the turn's just over. And it's not that, like, Breas paid 8 health down to 25, a much more reasonable number, but it feels like as soon as we lose this this deck, it's just game over for the options that Byakko has.
It's not necessarily game over, but it is a very difficult hill to climb. So, and as we see, we have a double overhead hammer fist hitting the stage because we used our split body control on the block. We flipped over the battle for dominance that was on Annabelle's board, and now this double overhead hammer fist says that, hey, you have to flip an additional foundation to block this one. You only have 3 foundations left in your stage. I'm gonna make you flip 1, go down to 2. This says you have to have 1 to block with. You're gonna go down to 1. So this one is still blockable. You know, it is a very zero high attack. But
Yeah.
we are gonna go ahead and press our Hacker Extraordinaire Enhance, spin our momentum, draw a card, and there we're gonna flip it over as we mill our 3, and Breas cycles, meaning that beast summoning that we picked up on the first beast summoning doesn't have another target unless we mill another one off of the first couple of cards of our deck when we start pressing Byakko again.
Bear, we had the 5-hand size 68 card mainboarded deck Byakko cycle on turn 3.
Correct. I mean
Wowzers.
that is the character, right? I mean, I think every piece of this match led to that scenario, right? You're against this April deck. April got Scumbug on the board relatively early. We played double Father Sin as Breas on the first turn of the game to get our discard pile there so quickly. And I think if we continue, we're also drawing a ton of cards, Tim. We played double Electric Moth. That's, make 2 checks, draw 4 cards. So like the game is going quickly.
Yeah.
68 cards, now down to 58 total access in the entire game at this point, and we are still a mill character against a character that mills us.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, the difference is depending on how many cards are in stage, plus hand, plus card pool, we may never hit 30 cards in our discard pile ever again.
Yeah, I mean, it is something to look at, but double over, we're making this one big. The signature move, you would say, of Byakko, double overhead hammer fist, is now a 15 damage, potentially unblockable move if we don't have the high block or we don't want to flip the foundations to do it. A second one of these would be really devastating. Putting up, what, an extra 10? I mean, this, if we've seen a second double overhead in hand, unanswered, this drops Animal all the way down to 2 health off of these 2 attacks.
Yeah,
Crazy.
absolutely. And that's just it. It's like we were just looking through our discard pile. I think for something like a supersonic flight to have an extra draw defensively, we don't have it. I don't know if we have another high block here, Tam. I think it is either a mid block, and even to play that mid block, half of 15 still going to take the 8. You then have to flip another foundation, but we do have a high block. It's going to be this barrier shield, which is a good one because it doesn't count towards progressive difficulty. It was on a 2, 3, 4 easily checks here as we check a hacker.
Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, I love the patience here from Annabelle of not just like snap playing the barrier shield. Very easily we could have opened, unless it was drawn via April's ability. Played on the first
True.
one, say, hey, cool your jets, breaker 2, stop your turn here. But I think keeping our health total alive would be really, really good.
I think the other thing as well, Sam, is like, and we've kind of been glossing over it, but the ability and the strength of something like discard 1 card, draw 1. If you know that cards like 4 beast summonings are headed your way, or I'm only going to really die if I get hit by a double overhead hammer fist, every time April O'Neil hits a 4 or 5 check off of your opponent's deck, I'm reviewing my low blocks all day.
Yeah. 100%.
And I'm reviewing my not high impact mid or high blocks to get better ones, right? So, oh man, this game's about to slow down real fast,
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I talked about it beforehand. We aren't playing like the signature 3 difficulty like stab attack that is a mill card from Critical Role, but there is a foundation that is really good for mill decks, and it is, or these like mill game plans, which is joining the fight that we have seen now 2 hit the stage, which says at any point if April's attack hits, we get to selectively remove cards from our opponent's discard pile, which is very good when your character can stack their deck with a card in their discard pile.
Yeah, it's that, and it now says that uppercut has real value, right?
Yes,
I block, I play the uppercut, I play both of these joining the fights, and I look at you and I say, Byakko, I know you don't care about 4 health, but how do you care about 2 cards? 2 cards
2
are
attacks.
A big...
It basically
2
says
attacks.
remove 2 attacks.
Big, huge deal. Massive. But ensnaring root coming in, flipping the board, and saying, soon, none of these joining the fights are joined a little too late. They're about to be face down.
Yeah, I can only imagine we're going to get rid of the keeping Ares safe first, or even these battle for dominances. I'd even wonder, Tam, how impactful is incubating for us right now? Byakko doesn't really put speed on their moves. We haven't seen a single copy of the 3 Thunderous Roar hit the stage yet. So, like, how much is -1 speed at removing cards from your own discard pile? Do we even really need it? We saw April basically pass all those blocks, not having to tap a single card last turn. So I wonder if those are the 2 cards we might be flipping. One from the Ensnaring Roots ability, and one from Byakko ourselves. Because we know that Breas is going to keep hitting these buttons to get 30 cards in our discard pile as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
And I think the game plan back online. Yeah, exactly. And I think even Annabelle knows that, right? Like, I think, at least from what I'm seeing, chatting and, paying attention to the game, I think we have kind of stopped pressing our buttons as often as we have. So now we press it Scumbug Enhance. We're going to take a look, get rid of this massive size. But I don't think we've pressed April yet. We're holding on to that because what happens if our opponent sneakily gets to 30 cards in our discard pile again and Animal does what he did last time, and you presses all the buttons before we hit the 30 cards and have that enhance ability. But there it is. Mills a 6. You've got to discard a card.
Yeah, massive in the 5-hand size character. Every card is so much equity of what we can do on offense and defense, but the name of
Big
this
Appetite.
card, Big Appetite. I was gonna say Big Eater, but that's not it. Big Appetite. Not very useful in the hand. I think we're gonna be okay to let that one go. But it looks like blocking with another block check, wind barrier.
Yeah, wind barrier says, and again, another reason why I think we just don't need this incubating is that we have cards like wind barrier, which, by the way, this breaker is live.
Yeah,
so
that one mattered.
Breaker 1, and we checked a 4, which actually became a 3 on this 5 difficulty now, beast summoning, and there are more beast summonings in Breas' discard pile. I'm pretty sure there's at least one, and even if there isn't, we might hit one off the top here as we mill our 3. Probably milling 6 cards here.
Yeah, still a ton of offensive ability that we have over on Byakko's side. And Beast Summon, again, this is going to be the linchpin. How many times can I play this Beast Summon and keep myself alive to whittle down Animal's defenses? And the answer is, I don't think it's going to be enough.
It's going to be really hard, I think, for sure. And the biggest thing I'm starting to understand a lot more about this match, because remember, Tam, this is still game 1.
Yes.
And the idea is whoever ends up taking this game, I'll be quite honest, is probably going to take this whole match.
Yeah.
Because I think as both players play this first game, they are really understanding all of the intricacies of both of their decks, like, against each other.
Yeah.
And I think Animal can fall into a place where we press our buttons too quickly and don't play around the 30 cards in our discard pile, and we just get eaten alive by these beast summonings, right?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if Animal plays calculated and cool, Breas is going to kill himself.
Yes.
Eating and picking up all of these beast summonings so that this deck that we quote-unquote think is really just milling your opponent out actually just takes game.
Yeah. One uppercut, one mashup. It's like if you do all the heavy lifting and you burn yourself 4, burn 4, burn 4, burn 4. Yeah, man, I guess one mashup plus a lurker's strike. I mean, I'm representing lethal. You got to figure it out. But I'm pretty sure we picked up a bow staff, if I'm not mistaken. So we might be seeing a breaker 2 block coming in here, which makes pumping this damage a little suspect, I think.
It's definitely, make your opponent use the resources they have, but that is exactly what's happening here. Bow staff, incredibly strong, 0 difficulty asset with breaker 2 on it, and it says that if you ever build it, you're allowed to pick it up and add it to your hand. We've talked about cards like this, I think, for a long time that have kind of existed in the same space as years have gone by. An asset that essentially says +1 to your hand size with breaker 2 on it feels really good when you play them.
Yeah.
We've had equivalents that you block with them while they're in your stage. This is kind of no different, but the fact this is on a 0 diff, I think a lot of people are really like this one for the void symbol.
Yeah, and this one has the added benefit of my rival of it telegraphs itself really hard, right? As opposed to the previous ones you were talking about, like this one you have to pick it up and you go, I've got it. Here it goes. But if you want to stop your opponent from blocking Barrett, the number one thing that you can do as a Byakko player is play the last card that we played on our turn, which is Thunderous Roar. You talked about it earlier. Enhance commit +1 speed for each face down in your rival's stage. That alone, at this point in the game, says enhance commit, make a move unblockable.
Yeah. Well,
If they have 30. It's now 2 for every one of their face downs. They have to have some sort of reset, like, I don't know, moment of normalcy or barrier shield to be played to deal with this singular card. But again, the void symbol character, April, knows the game plan. I'm here for a long time, not a good time. I'm gonna play 3 foundations and await my turn. Bide my time.
Yeah, it is for sure, as you talk about, like this, the Thunderous Roar being another one of those cards that is a, hey, if at 30 in discard pile, I matter more. Meaning, if we fall for the thing, this could happen again. The thing about Thunderous Roar, though, is that this is a 30 cards in your discard pile with a huge benefit that
Massive.
April doesn't actually get to press her enhance or Scumbug's enhance on. We have to have a very key card, like you said, a moment of normalcy or something like a barrier shield to negate that negative. Because if not, we will be eating 15 to the face from something. But what I did like here about Annabelle is that we played the return to normalcy, but we didn't only play that as a foundation for the turn. Because if you don't keep playing foundations in your stage, Byakko, if you build one pass against Byakko, you will lose it just as
100%.
quickly as you built it. As we see this Unrelenting Advance come out, this is another damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of ability. If you block this one, I guarantee get another card, and I'm going to fill more cards in my discard pile. If you don't block it, you could be doming somebody for 15. As we just picked it up, we thought about it.
And here it is. 15 big ones. Yeah, if I'm Annabelle, though, like, I see this card and I go, yeah, man, I'm down. Hey, let's. How many cards can I get off the top of your deck for you to go fishing for a random attack? If I get even 3 cards off the top, I mean, that's just closer and closer to this Plan B, which I've decided to make Plan A mentality.
A for April.
A for April. Yuck. Yuck.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm kind of in the same boat. I think regardless of when I look at a card like Unrelenting Advance, yes, it is going to give my opponent another attack. But, like you said, if I'm trying to mill out my opponent, I'm blocking this every day of the week. It's only 2 speed mid. There's our mill 3 from the other ability of Byakko. Please flip 1, sir. Now we get to look at Scumbug. Get rid of that Thunderous Roar. I only want to have to deal with one of these.
Yeah, please. From here, though, it looks like we have another Beast Summon in hand, so there might be... I mean, there's at least 2 more attacks coming, right? Because we're going to be able to pay our 4, get our Beast Summon back. And so, with only the 4 cards in hand, potentially drawing a couple with April, there's certainly a chance that we... There's certainly a chance that we get splatted, but it seems far-fetched.
I think it's at the onus of what Annabelle allows. So, okay, so I said it was for the flip enhance. It was actually for the extra 5 damage that we milled those 3 for. So, using the return to normalcy, and I was going to bring this up, so I'm glad Annabelle did it. Why don't you just reset it to base damage and take 5 for the first time this game?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Annabelle at this point has perfect his opponent on the sense of, I haven't taken a single point of damage. I may kill you without even having to get your life to 0. But I'm allowed to reset the speed or damage. We chose damage, taking 5 for the first time this game.
This is just such a clean answer to that threat of Thunderous Roar that it's got to be telling Breas that something has to be happening in hand. There has to be a barrier shield. Because
yeah, absolutely.
This is actually like plus 20 speed on a move that I want, not to mention plus 5 damage on the... I mean, this is 10 damage is like crazy.
But, like, that's the thing. It is saying that you probably have a barrier shield, because if you don't, I'm going to hit you with something. But at the same time, Breas postured on that Unrelenting. Massive Size isn't going to come in unless we ready it here with this Beast Summoning. When do you decide to turn both of those foundations sideways? Because if you're going to ready the Massive Size of this Beast Summoning, Tam, it means you're not readying the Thunderous Roar.
Yeah, not on this.
So it is a weird back and forth. And again, the closer and closer we get to this deck size, do you actually even have 30 in your discard pile anymore?
we certainly only have 3 or 4 inside of our deck. Black Sleeves obfuscating a little bit of our numbers. I think it might just be 3. Third cycle coming through into the deck.
Yeah, that's where it's going to be. It's going to be the mill 3 here. Woo. For the flipping a foundation. We are going to have our next cycle. Again, 68 total card deck. We've already cycled once. 58 card. We are now down to a 48 card deck. We have 5 at any given point in our hand at the beginning of a turn. So make that down to 43. And however many foundations we have on our stage, again, the next time we have 30 in our discard pile will be right before we cycle for the 3rd time.
Yeah. Man, what a cool back and forth. The questions and answers that both these characters are representing. Yeah, put that jury over there. We probably just won't ever need it this entire match. I don't.
No,
I don't.
absolutely.
April slinging
Rising
damage moves the
uppercuts
whole
are
time.
already for 4, Tam.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It'll be chill. But from here we've got even more milling. We gotta get back to that 30. You know, we've got to pump these numbers up.
5 more damage onto this one. And here's the other thing too. We didn't even really talk about it. Tam, that ready ability for be summoning is another one that says, hey, you have to have 30 in your discard pile.
That's true.
So all that stuff that we talked about, I don't even think we pressed the button.
We didn't.
Or I missed it and we like readied the massive size and used it immediately again. But like, if we didn't press that button, it means we're not readying an extra thing. And you using that moment of normal, the moment of normalcy to reset my damage was full value because it means I don't have to worry about massive size again.
Yeah.
Stun one coming through.
Scary spot to be. Looks like Dimensional Sphere coming in.
That's huge, Tam. That's more removal of attacks off of Brayus's deck. Yeah. Of course, that means the Dimension Sphere will also get removed when it leaves the card pool, but saying, no thank you, you can't pick that one up for the rest of the game, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Very good. Also, just clean Byakko's card pool just a little bit. Says that our turn on offense is a little easier. Very easy blockable move, and we didn't put too much into it, right? But yeah, this is the big question. How much more potent can I be afterwards? And double overhead hammer fist is a great follow up to try and score some damage.
Yeah. Again, so Byakko makes us flip one. This says you have to flip one on block. So we are going to go down from blocking this move. We are going to go down to 2 face-up foundations in our stage, which means if we played another attack after this and then another double overhead, that double overhead is unblockable.
Yeah. And with April only being at 22, I mean, it would drop us down to 12. 12 is not hard for Byakko to find, especially if we're allowed to press Thunderous Roar's ability to make something afterwards unblockable after that.
Yeah.
This is looking a little closer than it might appear. If Annabelle does not play this turn correctly, we could just see a KO very quickly. We have the resources on stage to do it. The question is what enhances and blocks happen to make it get there?
I think that's something worth talking about, right? I mean, Brayus's stage is big enough that we could play enough 4 difficulty attacks on a string, and you removed one from my card pool also. And Tam, we have to talk about it. From the amount of time that it has taken to get to this game state, there's a world where Brayus might have sculpted 5 attacks in his hand.
That's very true. Very, very true.
So, and like, I don't know about you, but the last time that you played against a Byakko that had 5 attacks in their hand and still maybe got a 6th one because of their character ability, did you survive that turn?
No, it's few and far between for sure. Especially committing a Thunderous Roar for plus 13 speed on your 0 speed. But Rising Uppercut does not care about that even a little bit. It says after we attempt to block a non-ranged card, set its speed back to 4. So yeah, I'm going to flip one and then drive and then uppercut you once again, probably dropping Byakko from 17 down to 13. That is technically one less beast summon to be able to pick up if we need to find it.
Yeah, and we are going to pay the drive here. So we are going to sling the move. We're going to just press April, which says, hey, I'm going to draw a bonus. Hey, we drew a high block.
It is a high
just
block.
Because we played another enhance, and then we're nowhere near to 30, obviously. So you're allowed to just press Scumbug willy-nilly here. And like you said, Tam, if I'm pressing the Scumbug button and I find an attack on top of Brayus's deck, I think I'm probably leaving it.
Yeah. We're chill. We're chill. How much does Byakko want to mill? Legally allowed to press the enhance to make to give extra stats. Looks like deciding to go for blocks or just playing enhances. Unsure here. Looked like that was a low block to a high attack.
Yeah. I kind of wanted to bring it up while we were here, but I'm gonna bring Byakko back up onto the screen. But like, it's very interesting to me that it's like, yes, this Rising Uppercut is still being played against you on your own attack turn, but like, you're still allowed to press the Byakko mill button while
Mhm.
getting attacked, right?
Yeah.
So like we could still be milling 3 here and giving your attack plus X damage. And we didn't do that, and that's not the point I'm trying to say. But like for example, if that bottom enhance, instead of saying your attack, if it said your turn, we could also be doing this while getting Rising Uppercut. And there are characters in the format that can do that. You know, like there are characters that can take advantage of your opponent playing an attack against you if you had something that said a your turn ability, because it is still your turn, even if you're the one getting attacked on it. But like you said, it looks like we're just deciding if we actually want to take the damage here. We're staring at a 1 high block in our hand, so going to be on a 4, 5, 6, 7. As we do some extra block math.
And
On a 7.
checks a 4.
Checks 4,
5, 6,
5, 6,
7. Leaving
7.
our face up or face downs ready. Opposite change our mind. That's
There we
okay.
go. Sure. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and full block it, really valuing that extra 4 life. Like you said, Tam, I mean, these beast summonings have done more damage to ourselves than things like this Rising Uppercut. And I think also keeping your opponent off of that momentum matters a lot as well. At least, you know, keeping April off of the momentum. But then we're going to build a foundation here on a 5, checking another 4, I think.
Yeah, another 4.
So
we've got plenty of blank ones, right? Father Sin's already done his job.
yeah, exactly. So beginning this Shameless Haggler, another draw option into our stage, which is important for when we potentially can put something on top of our deck that is impactful. Reminding our opponent, hey, that Unrelenting did hit me if you do want the momentum. So very, very nice to do that there, of course.
Reminder for everybody at
Sending
home,
our
please make sure you
turn-
turn your cards sideways whenever they deal damage. It is in the rulebook. It will help everybody involved, including your 2 lovely casters who are sitting at home, who maybe forgot that move dealt damage earlier in the turn.
I remember. It's the only damage. It's the only damage that Brace has dealt this game. Of course, I remember.
Who forgot? This guy right over here.
But you're a little rusty, Tam. You've been behind the scenes a lot more than recently. So, Lurker Strike coming in though. If we did review a card, I sure didn't see it. But I think it was a foundation, which means this says that no matter what, after this resolves, we are allowed to build a foundation, and it builds immediately, which is important against a character that is constantly flipping your stage. You know, we can have a card with meaningful text on another attack that we may continue to play after this. 3 low for 4 attack. And Breus is getting a lot closer to dying.
Barrett, there might... I mean, Animal just cycled. Do you think there's a possible mill out here? What are the chances you think that... I mean, he's kind of speed... Every time that Breus mills a card, he could be drawing a card? Or a view draw? I don't know, man. It might be pretty...
We kind of talked about it, right?
Be close.
I know you're memeing, but I mean, it's the 73 card deck that mills your opponent versus the 68 card deck that mills itself. I think that one is a kind of a no-brainer. Even with the size of Animal's stage, for Breus's deck to function, for Byakko, the character card, to work, we have to mill 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, so finishing things up, our attack dealt damage. Or no, sorry, I was wrong. We must have reviewed an asset because we just went into Breus's discard pile and removed 2 cards from it, which of course were 2 attacks, which means that's why this Lurker Strike got played, Tam, because it says get rid of 2 more attacks out of your opponent's deck, basically.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah, again, as we approach 16-ish minutes left in this round, still in game 1 for anybody joining now and catching up. And again, Animal, I think Animal can still lose this game. If we don't keep our stage healthy, double overheads will be for lethal. You don't get to block those ones.
Yeah.
It also means you don't have access to the return to normalcy. It means you only have the cards in your hand and the cards you may get off of April, and you have the counterplay of dealing with the once per turn on Byakko. But that's it. You still have to play the game against your opponent. So maintaining this healthy stage, I think, is the surefire way that Animal can win this game, and probably the match if we only end up closing out this one game. But that Botan's coaching, I don't think we're ever pressing that button. That card was built to be flipped. Supersonic Flight, that card was built to be flipped. And it makes sense. You have to have these cards or else you're going to lose your stage. And even then, we're still in a scary situation. Things like Ensnaring Roots can come down. Things like double overhead fist at double overhead hammer fist at the beginning say that you have to flip another one if you want to block it. So like there are more and more and more ways to turbo flip these cards in Animal Stage, and that means hey, you will eventually die to a double overhead. But I know one of them got removed. I don't know how many have been removed on cycle. So it really is going to find out very quickly if Breas has any path to victory in this game 1.
Yeah, it's going to be certainly tight margins without a margin of error. Beast Summon is a great way to start, though. Spin that 4 health, re-go grab another attack, and it might even be the fact that we're just like not allowed to spend or mill the 3 to grab extra stats. It might just be that, you know, how many moves am I allowed to sling over and over and over again to find victory.
I kind of want to go back. Honestly, I don't even know. It could be turns ago at this point, Tam. At what point do you think we maybe could have had a better time in this matchup if we had done something about Scumbug?
That's a good point.
I asked you the question because I know that backups are, again, at least for how long UFS or UniVersus has existed as a game, I know backups are a baby in that giant, timeline. And the question is like, if we had played a little differently against this card, I want to remind you, Tam, as we have access to the deck lists, that Scumbug is a one of in this deck list. If you just killed it at some point, you may have had a better shot of really putting Annabelle in a harder position of, hey man, if you want to press the April button while I'm putting this pressure onto you, it means I will have access to my once per turn when I hit my discard pile at the 30 cards, which has happened multiple times in this game.
Yeah, the Scumbug by itself has easily attributed to 10 plus cards also being milled as we go into our fourth refresh of the deck. Like, this would be the 4th time I get to play with these cards.
It is officially impossible for Byakko to ever hit 30 cards in his discard pile again.
Yeah.
You have lost that key part of your character and other cards in your deck, like extra status. It is now impossible.
And so from here, I don't even know if I mill to flip any longer. I just don't think I do it.
No. And you ready? It's the other side now. Annabelle now gets to press April and Scumbug on every attack and never worry about that happening.
Not one more time. Yeah, love it.
Not a single. We are allowed to. That thing that we might have lost the game earlier when we did allow Breas to stack a card on top of his deck and then draw a card because we just pressed our buttons too fast. You can press your buttons as fast as you want now. Press the Thunderous Roar button, immediately turns the return to normalcy, or moment of normalcy sideways.
At least let me count them out, you know? I don't gotta press the button on the app to make it bigger, but let me count them out.
Yeah, absolutely. Another dimensional sphere block here. It says, I'm going to remove this one right away. The progressive difficulty in your card pool does not matter at this point.
Yeah.
And again, that beast summoning at some point in this game could have readied that Thunderous Roar, but we're never going to hit 30 cards in our discard pile ever again. Gargantuan Grapple. This is a cool one.
First time I've seen it.
Yeah, so response on play, you can spin this momentum that we have, and you can give this attack stun 2 or breaker 2, but the key important part is that it's a throw. Throws opening up a different avenue on how Breas might actually be able to win this game, because you use the Dimensional Sphere on the Beast Summoning.
Yeah.
That normally is an answer to throws.
Yes.
Now, how many more of those do you have? I might actually be able to kill you by putting plus 10 damage onto a throw.
For my new players out there, the reason that Dimensional Sphere is an answer to throws is Dimensional Sphere removes it during the block step before the throw gets a chance to go to the damage step to calculate, oh, I was a throw and I was blocked, let's do a little bit of damage. It's gone. It drops the attack at the block step.
Yeah.
Really, really impactful versus strategies like this.
Absolutely. Getting some April enhances, getting the scumbug stuff. We did, or sorry, that was our mill 3 from Byakko, which we did press, making our opponent flip 1. Again, I do think you asked earlier, do you just stop pressing the mill 3 to make your opponent flip 1? And I think if you ever plan on maybe killing somebody with a double overhead fist, you do.
I guess that just
But
has
again,
to be the game plan, right?
Yeah, and also we just got returned to normalcy. If you can keep up the flip game plan, that card eventually disappears. But, Tam, I don't know how many double overhead fists are already removed from the game. If that isn't even a viable kill condition anymore, then you're right. Maybe you are just allowed to stop pressing that button. But it works out, right? You know, we press that thunder. I mean, Breas is still clawing his way out and trying to get this win, right? We played that first attack. We pressed Thunderous Roar. We baited out to return to normalcy, which means you can play this throw and we can potentially put +10 damage on it. That is a different way of winning this game.
Yeah, like triple
We're still
throw without the dimensional sphere is probably just a clean KO.
22. They would all be for 9. So they're all going to do 5 at least, which is 15. And then we have an additional +5, which against a throw is only +3, right?
So
but not really because it's already a 4 +2. So it's a little bit of a miss.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's impossible,
to
but like
spoil the story, Brace does not have 3 more throws in his hand. I think we have a mispaired beast summon.
Hey, look, there's one. We checked one. Yep, so on a 5, checks our 3. Gonna have to commit 2 more. It is another beast summoning. I also wonder too, Tam, at what point do we stop paying 4 life to pick up these beast summonings? And right now I don't think we have any. I think they're all removed at this point. This might be the last.
They've been removed. The lonesome beast.
The last
beast
to be summoned, if you would.
He's just hanging there, just like looking around. Where's my friends?
But yeah, I think there's a world where you're like, maybe I catch my opponent running out of mid blocks, but as we see the April enhance here, and we milled another beast summoning, we drew a card because you milled a 3 off the top.
Whoa!
I could have drawn a mid block, but it is an avenue where we can pay the 4, go down to 5, and pick it up. And it looks like we're gonna do it.
I mean,
again,
what are the chances, right?
Tooth and nail, dude. Breas is trying everything he can do to still find a way to win this game. Because as the clock keeps ticking, Tam, with 8 minutes left, at least for these 2 players, Breas is going to have to make some turbo kill changes to try and take a game 2 and at least in round 1 with a draw.
Yeah, I just don't... I mean, I don't see it happening, but there is... Maybe it does. I mean, Animal's only at 13. We are in this lethal range as we decided to take that Gargantuan Bellow.
Yeah.
Squarely on the chin. This is now representing lethal. This is a 15 damage mid attack.
Yeah, even a half block here does keep you alive. I can only imagine. I mean, it's a mid attack, right? Any block in your hand is allowed to block this legally. The question is, what do we decide to do? This is a low block on April's investigation, I believe.
Yeah. Cool card.
So
Does say response after you play this card. Look at the top 3, put them back in any order. So you kind of get a free April enhance. And funny enough, last 3 cards of our deck.
Yeah, and also get to look at what the check can be. So if he plays the beast summoning, although we're going to eat half of this, you can make them check a 3, and then you still have the knowledge of what the top card of the deck is for the April enhance, right? So like double 3s here, putting them back in that order, is a very good block trick here. I mean, it's why it's her card, right? It definitely adds up. And then offensively, it's still a 4 low for 5 stun 1. So, and an ally. You actually played it on a 4.
18 cards left in Breas's deck total. That includes the 3 currently in the deck. So as we go to play this beast summon on the 6, checks a 5, meaning there wasn't a 3 to be stacked, which means there might not be a 3 here to be seen. I'd have to imagine the first thing that we do is we get this damage, right? I mill the 3, and you don't let April have card knowledge on top?
Yeah, we overcommitted, so we readied 1 up. That makes sense. I was like, what? We didn't have a breaker. Yeah, I can imagine that's probably the first thing you do, and obviously, like, the milling the 3 for the +5 damage puts this to 10. It says you have to block this with something, but instead we press the stun 1 button, milling a
Whoa.
6, saying discard a card, Breas, but
Discard
as
a
we know,
card.
there is some dead
Which-
cards in our hand here.
Which of these gray ones do we not care about? Interesting.
Gets rid of a 1 high block. And the
Hmm.
question here still being, the Byakko Enhance is going to come through. Nope, that was Scumbug.
Bear, what do you think the chances of this game coming down to ripping cards off the top with this shameless haggler? We have now put attacks back into our deck. There will be 8 cards in our deck. I think if we find another mid, I think we're just zone checking our rival at this point.
I don't disagree with that, Tam, but we have to also remember that we have 3 attacks in Byakko's card pool and only 3 foundations right now. So there's also a world where that same attack you were trying to look for off the top will be the reason you fail it.
Yeah.
Or, you check one, right? But I mean, you're right. The closer and closer you get to your deck size, I mean, they just cycled again. So they removed our 10, finished the mill ability, so we have cards in our discard pile. We're gonna take a look here with Scumbug. Puts that 4 check into the discard pile. Maybe you check a 3, but we could have kept it there because, like you said,
I would have left it on top every day.
Yeah, the shameless haggler here could be because we're gonna press it, flip,
I'm on the edge of my
discard a
seat.
card.
And he said,
And we
I'll take
said
it.
yes.
He said yes. Please, draw another one. Whoa, what a great deal. We don't have to discard it. Hey, we're reading. Nobody ever accepts the bargain. It just says draw again. And we drew another attack. We drew a moth, which is going to let us draw even more. Do we?
Okay,
I don't
but
think
we can't pass all those checks, Sam.
We can.
But,
We can. I believe, Barrett.
But what? Yeah, I mean, so we drew the card. Like, Animal Snap said, yeah, man, I would also like to draw 1 and gain 2. So we went to 10, which could also be important for the math, right?
He says, barrier shield. Let's drop this bad boy down to 0. Now, I think it's going to be a little tough, Bear. Breaker 2 is probably going to be
the Breaker 2 is going to spell, I think, the end of it. But again, this is another half block. We didn't have the mid, but this says Breaker 2, take half, go back down to 5. And even if you play this Electric Moth, it's on a 4, 5, 6, 7. If you check to 6, it's actually a 4, 5, 6, 7. You could do it. And even if you check to 5, you can tap Byakko. Your opponent's at 5. It has to be a 5 base damage move, which Electric Moth is not.
Yeah. So it is check a 5 to keep Byakko or check a 6 to keep Byakko?
Check a 6 to keep Byakko.
Tough. I mean, we're not allowed to pass. Like, we just have to go for it.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting milled out.
There's got to be a 6 on top.
Attack. You're getting milled out from 1 attack from April because that will happen, and then you will make your opponent drop to hand size. You will cycle and lose the game. So, it is 1 card in Animal's hand versus we know there's an Electric Moth. The Electric Moth can represent lethal, but it has to be a 6 check on top.
I believe. Everybody, if you are a Byakko fan, hands up. Give your energy.
On a 4, 5, 6, 7.
Minus
Breaker
2 to the
2
check.
here.
Checks a 1.
We checked a 1. So it's just... I guess I'm confused.
Nope.
Did we not press Breaker 2?
Declare Breaker?
Okay. There it is.
There it is. Barrier shield coming in, I think, to clean this game up nice and quick. A quick one.
So
a good 58 and a half a minute.
Game one. Yeah. But yeah, they're cleaning it up. They have to go through the motions, of course. April has to represent lethal, like, even if it just means passing your turn. As they clean things up. Look at how many cards are in the deck. How many cards are in your hand, Breas? 2. Means you have to draw 4 and at least, play 1 card. Hannibal looks at his hand,
And
plays an
ends
April
it
investigation.
with the investigation. You know what? I'd love to see what the last couple cards in your deck are. Thoughts? What did
And you
you
can pick
get to
the
play
order.
with?
Yeah, you get to pick the order, which means April gets to put one on top, and then mill it immediately once we get to the enhanced step, of course. So, it is kind of surprising that we are still doing this.
Yeah. And you know what, Barrett? We are living in the future, which means
Yeah, it's true. We can fast
do
forward.
not have to do it. We've officially come off of it.
The other thing
man,
is like,
what a fun one.
yeah, I mean, so I don't actually know the end result, obviously, but there could obviously be a world, Tam, where like they were on a different clock. They could have been, but I think as we've looked ahead just a little bit, that is going to be a 1-0 going to Animal with his April deck, which, Tam, you asked me a couple weeks ago. And based off of round 1, the question you asked me, for everybody who didn't pay attention to our podcast, the chances of a TMNT character making top cuts at this event. And April O'Neil starting strong was not the one I would have said, or not even the one I did say, of course. So it's exciting to know that that is happening right now in the event, or and how well Annabelle might be doing from the rest of day 1, and through a mill out. We don't usually see a lot of mill game plans, especially nowadays in UniVersus. I feel like people's offensive tricks and game plans on what they're doing are usually pretty strong right now, especially as we go into our next match that obviously they can't see yet, but while you're making graphics and stuff, we are going to be a little bit more aware of like, hey, this is going to be the real game plan. It's almost as if you're putting your opponent on a different clock, right? You know, you have such a strong game plan that eventually you have this kind of like ultimatum of like, hey, if we hit this certain point board state wise, I will be ending the game. And that was definitely not what we saw, at least for that match, in the sense of, hey, I do play 22 attacks in my 73 card April deck, and I'm not like full committed to the mill out game plan. I've got a couple of cards that synergize with it, but especially in that deck matchup dynamic, when you sit across the table from Byakko, you probably feel pretty good about that round 1 pair up.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably like the best thing that you would want to see in that identity, right? Like you're milling, I'm milling, I'm gonna try and do it a wee bit quicker than you. It's a sigh of relief, I'm sure. Sigh of relief.